Hello everyone, Simon here. Welcome back to the architecture of Cyberpunk 2077. So today we're gonna look at the Wellsprings. Wellsprings district in the Heywood region. Where are we? So this is the map, right? So on the central island, this is city center, the yellow ones. The green ones, this is Heywood. And Wellsprings is the western part of Heywood there on the coastline there, right? So Heywood is, I guess it's like the oldest part of the city. So the original city is there, and they gradually expanded in every direction, right? So this is like old Night City. Although I guess old Night City used to include the city center as well, but the city center got nuked, right, in 2020. And by old I mean as we walk through Heywood and Wellsprings, we're gonna see some older buildings, and we're gonna get an idea of what the city looked like before the major expansion of Megacorp influence. And conveniently, there's a bit of a breakwater out here where we can look back towards the city. So let me come down here. We're not gonna go all the way to the end, but let me get out to here. Anything we want to say about the spaceport? Not really. Sometimes you see rockets taking off the spaceport, that's kind of cool. Alright, so this is Wellsprings in front of us. Behind we have big Corpo towers marching to the south, although they stop there. And in front of them we have lower buildings, look at that. So lower, smaller buildings that are more like what Night City used to be before the corporations really moved in. And so like Little China to the north, the corporate expansion, corporate influence is expanding out from the city center, right? And so it's most intense there, and as we go down to the south, it gradually fades away until we get to basically what is Night City without Megacorp influence as we get to the southern end of Wellsprings. So we're going to see this gradient. We're going to walk down along the coast and then turn around and come back up. And that will be our tour for today. Alright, let's go back and let's take a look at these buildings. Not sure what this breakwater is about either, by the way. There's a few boats there. Doesn't seem useful. Usually a breakwater would Is it called breakwater? Am I crazy? Hold on. Am I insane? Yeah, it's a breakwater. Never mind. Alright, come on. A breakwater is a thing that basically blocks the bigger waves and create a protected area inside a harbor. Alright, so down here in front we have this thing, which is like a black... It looks like an apartment building. It's not very big though. Maybe it's similar to that one. Maybe there used to be more shipping piers, ferry piers here. But people don't ride the ferries anymore. There are some recreational boats out there. And so then maybe they put an apartment here. Doesn't look that attractive though, does it? It's kind of black and boring. There's no windows? I mean, there's some windows recessed. Not the most attractive thing in the world, but okay. Yeah, no, I really wonder what this is. The thing is, the breakwater is too close, and so you can't get a big ship in here because they won't be able to turn around and go back out again. So I mean, you have small ships there. Maybe it's some sort of flood control, but then it's not closed on the other side. Yeah, I don't know what this is, or why this is. Some recreational boats. Not much to talk about. Although this area is kind of nice, right? We are close to the city center. And I guess there's still plenty of rich people around here. No rubbish? Not really. The streets are clean. And it's kind of nice. There's some cafes down there. And what are these? Alright, let's get on this onto the street level. And take a look around. These look like small office buildings. Look, there's a bunch of logos on that building there. They're all businesses. This could be offices. So it looks like commercial towers, but they're not like the Megacorp commercial towers. Like those are just black. But these are very colorful and they're much smaller. So are much more normal compared to the Megacorps, right? There's a deli, hometown deli over there apparently. And the mix of logos, having a lot of businesses in one building, it suggests a healthy economic ecosystem of small businesses, small and medium-sized businesses coexisting. Which is healthier than having everything monopolized by a giant megacorp. Over here we have this giant thing that straddles across. The building looks kind of old. Look at that. There's a lot of stains on the building. I don't know how old this building is. It could be from before the nuclear blast. Like it looks old. 50 years old? More than 50 years old? Possibly. Who knows? But it's an older building. It is white. Although, you know, architecturally it kind of looks like the Megacorp buildings. With the thick walls and then the small windows on the thick walls. But it's white though, so it's a different thing. If we come in here and read the signs, there's a bunch of shops down here as well. It does straddle the road.
Explosion of taste.
Feeling tired, bored,
Kelly Express, Riot. If I remember right, there's a sign for hotel. Oh, there it is. What does that sign say? Do drop in. So I think it's supposed to be a hotel up there, but an old one, right? And then down here there's a bunch of shops. It's super bright.
70% real blood.
And then on this side, this continues over to the next building, so there's a big bridging thing over the roads. That kind of looks like a ferry terminal.
Oye, despacio!
It kind of does, but kind of not. There's gates for vehicles. So imagine if you imagine like there's a ferry, and you can like it's a car ferry as well. You can drive your car onto it, maybe. And then the shape of the building. Kind of looks like a ferry terminal. Kind of, maybe. Like, what else would it be, right? It looks kind of ugly for an apartment. I mean, it's not quite the right size for offices. So it kind of looks like a ferry terminal, except there's no ferry terminal here, right? Maybe they meant for it to be a ferry terminal, and they just didn't follow through. Imagine if there's like places for ships to come in. And then you get on the ship. Like if the breakwater wasn't this close, like if the shape out here was a little different, you could believe it was a ferry terminal. But it's not, so I don't know what that's meant to be now. I can't tell what it is. What should we do? Go back up? Alright, let me go back up for a little while. And we'll come back down again. So this building here, I think, as we said, I think it's an inn with some shops down the bottom. Although you can't really tell what it is because it's just like a rectangular white thing. I mean, it could be a shopping center, could even be like a a convention center. It could be a lot of things. If it's a hotel, like are those hotel rooms? Why would you have hotel rooms on the inside where there's no views, right? You know, like a hotel, if it was a hotel, you would expect all the windows to face the ocean for the views. So the shape of it is not quite right. I'm not sure what to make of it. It could be a shopping center. It would kind of make sense as a shopping center. What can we see up here? I don't know. Not sure. Okay, let's keep going. With columns. Enough columns to hold up the weight above at least. What is that? It's kind of cool, but I don't know what it is. Alright, out here we have a car park. Not big enough of a car park for a building this size. And then we have a nice pedestrian place by the waterfront. Look at this. Well, that's not bad, look at that. Some plants. It's mostly clean and well maintained. What is this here? Oh, there's another walkway. Oh, this is a landing pad for aerial vehicles? Yeah. So the landing area for aerial vehicles. And then we're by the water. Alright, cool. So it's I'm really not sure what to make of this building. It's a little too old. And it doesn't really make sense. Like the shape and the size of it, can't read what it is. Further on though, this stuff is easy to understand. I believe these are apartments. They look like apartments. Like wide windows looking out into the ocean. So those will be like luxury penthouse apartments by the ocean. Let me hop off here. So this is kind of nice. Big trees. Big pedestrian plazas. And then we have like houses on top. I think those are also residential. They probably look like they could be residential. And then shops down below. So Wellsprings is middle class. Is what Night City calls middle class. So these aren't poor, but they're not Megacorp, right? They don't belong to the Megacorps in the city center, but they're not poor. And you look around here, you know this looks pretty middle class. This is like normies, the ordinary people of Night City, if we can call them that. What does that say? Bulwark. The building is called a bulwark. And I think that's more residential stuff up there as well, by the sea. It's kind of nice to be honest. And I guess the question we have to ask is why do the megacorps don't barge in here and build their own towers by the ocean? Because you know, like the seaside property usually is premium, right? You pay extra money for the views. And here, look out to the west. I bet the sunsets are nice, right? So with great views, and it's close to the city center, you'd expect this stuff to be in high demand. And so you would expect like a lot of luxury apartments to be built around here, given the great location. And by a lot of luxury apartments, I mean just taller than this, right? Imagine if the buildings were like 4 times as tall and filled with apartments. That would make more sense, but here they're quite low. And I'm not sure how we can explain that, because you would expect this to be premium property, Premium waterfront property. Down here we have what used to be the beach, under the glass. Not sure why they bother giving a piece of that. Alright, back to the street level.
Don't make trouble.
We do have police presence, by the way. And looking around this street, as we said, this almost feels like a normal city. As normal as Night City is gonna be, right? There's still some graffiti. A little bit dubious about the economic conditions. But those look like fancier apartments up there. And then maybe somewhat cheaper apartments down below. But again, you would expect more of it. I would expect the apartment blocks to be much taller than this. In a location like this. I mean, maybe the implication is that the middle class is just not that big and there's not that many of them. Because what happens when capitalism gets under control is that, you know how it goes. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And so the upper class gets richer and richer, and then more and more people fall into the lower classes, into the poor working classes, because all the money is being dragged up. And so the middle class, the people in between who have enough money to live comfortably but they're not super rich, that shrinks as capitalism pulls the money away from poor people and towards the rich people. And so the idea that the middle class district of Night City doesn't have that many houses suggests that there are just not that many middle class people. And again, like, why? If I was asking, well, why don't the corpos come in and build more bigger apartment towers? Maybe there aren't that many rich people either, right? Maybe the wealth is so concentrated in a few people that actually the market for really expensive apartments, the market's just not that big. And so that would explain the low quantity of housing of this quality, right? Because there's just not that many rich people who can afford it. And the people who can afford it, they will afford something much more expensive than this. So maybe it is a sign of extreme wealth inequality in Night City, that these apartment buildings aren't bigger. And we have these too, by the way. I don't know what these are. These could be offices, possibly. There's a lot of logos. I think it's meant to be a bit of a shopping district. Although who knows, right? What is this stuff? Who knows? Big signs up there. I get the feeling that once upon a time, as I said many days, once upon a time, this would have been quite nice. I mean, it's still kind of nice, but maybe you can see some signs of economic distress, just a little bit. And not that many shops are actually open.
Where there's smoke, there's trouble.
Alright, let's go back down to street level. Wild Blue, I think that's a hotel. I mean, Wild Blue, I think it's a hotel chain in Cyberpunk. Could be like serviced apartments. Yeah, no, you kind of expect more shops down here, right? What are these? Are these houses or shops?
You're about to know my
Baskin, Undercover Inc. So these are small businesses.
80% of aerial accidents result in death. Stay within the speed limit.
Medium-rise buildings. Small shops. Looks like a bunch of sex shops over there.
¿Necesitas lana? Vende un riñón. ¿Necesitas
Look at these buildings too. Medium-rise commercial buildings. In contrast to the giant black monolithic megacorp towers, alright? So we have small businesses versus big businesses. Okay, coming back this way, to the waterfront. And look how generous the pedestrian space is. We have trees, we have seating, some shops. Marquez is the hotel chain, right? Let's see, maybe these are hotels and not
Remember
apartments.
to take only certified neuron.
But if they are hotels, then who lives in them,
Some
right?
parts of the brain are irreplaceable.
Marquez, so there's a seaside hotel here. They could be hotels,
No seas víctima de la moda. Por tu seguridad.
but it's not really a tourist destination. Like there's no beaches, and like yeah, there's not really tourist attractions nearby. So what's going on back here? There's like an industrial thing. Oh, a bit of a warehouse. Interesting. I guess we're in the back streets. Oh, this thing is a, hold on. So we get past car parts, auto services. Okay. So we're further away, right? As we continue going down, get further and further away from the city center. And the businesses gradually get smaller,
Gun owners are reminded that
less upmarkets,
to advance through traffic is prohibited by the law.
and the buildings also get shorter and shorter, right? This is a pumping station, according to the fast travel station. It's concrete, it's kind of industrial, and graffitied. It seems a little over-engineered though, like one of those fins anyway. There's like big concrete fins for some reason. Usually a pumping station is just a concrete shell with pumps inside. Maybe there's some pipes on the outside where they, you know, pump things through. It's usually not meant to be an architectural showcase, a pumping station. It's very utilitarian. So I don't know what this stuff is. I can't see what the utilitarian use for these concrete fins are. I mean, it looks industrial, but I can't imagine they do anything. It's just there to look cool, I think. And why would a pumping station look like that? No clue. I think it just looks cool. If you go around the back, it is just the concrete box around the back. And that's more what you would expect a pumping station to look like. Right back here, there's like this stuff, I don't know what that stuff is either. And then like a concrete box back here with some pipes, right? A pumping station would look more like this. Pipes and a big concrete box, right? And the thing is, look, okay, I get it. Sometimes in video games you just do things because it looks cool. But, you know, if you understand how these machines are supposed to work, you understand how architecture is supposed to work. Like shapes mean something. Shapes do something, right? Like a factory, the smokestacks is because it produces, you know, air pollution, and you need to like throw it high up so it doesn't stink the local area. Like smokestacks have a certain shape and they have a certain function. And like the shape of the factories, that like having the windows on the roof, that serves a function because you need light inside the factory, right? And then yeah, so on and so forth. Like you have like big chemical tanks, and they're a certain shape because that's the shape of the tanks, that's the most efficient way to store liquids. So like different shapes have meaning and have functions. Like there we have a circular tank for fluids because the circle is the strongest shape for holding the fluid in place. You hold the most amount of fluid for the least amount of surface area, so it's more efficient that way. And because you don't have any corners, you don't the flow of the fluids is more. It's easier. You don't get fluids trapped in the corners and maybe leaving a sediment in the corners, for example. And so like there's a lot of benefits to having a circular shape for a container for fluid. And if you understand how the fluid works, then you would know why it's circular. So shapes have meaning, whereas that doesn't mean anything. And it doesn't do anything either, as far as I can tell. So that's what I mean. Like when you put stuff into video games, okay, it looks cool, fine. But shapes have functions. And it's better if you understand what the function is and you put it in the game in such a way that somebody who knows what they're looking at can look at it and say, okay, I understand what that is and what it's doing. Right? Whereas this, I look at it and I don't see anything here. Like it looks cool, but there's no substance. Anyway, let's keep going. Continuing to the south, the buildings continue to gradually step down. Now we're down to, what is that, 5, 6 stories? And then they stop completely. There's more industrial stuff here. Low density industrial stuff. I think this is another garage or something behind here. What's going on there? There's big fans. I don't know what they are either. I mean, it's a ventilation shaft, but what's it ventilating? If you're drawing that much air in, it's probably like some sort of big underground tunnel, maybe? Is there a tunnel around here? Oh, this is a tunnel. Hold on, maybe this is for the tunnel. Okay, I get it. So we are on top of an underwater tunnel here. Can't see it from the surface on this side. But it goes to there, and it comes back up over there. Alright, maybe the fans are for ventilation for the tunnels. Let me cross over to that side. Got footbridges. So it's a pedestrian friendly, this area. And then here we have a little bit of a park with some shops around. Although I'm not sure how well these shops are doing, maybe not that great. So that says Big Summer Sale is 2050. It's currently the year 2077, so 2050 was 27 years ago. Limited supplies, big summer sales, and they haven't had another sale since then, right? So I guess the shop shut down 27 years ago and nobody else has moved in since then, is what that implies. So maybe the economy is not doing that great. I mean, some of these shops are still going and there's still plenty of people. That's a food place. And people have set up gym equipment here, look at that. Just randomly gym equipment in the streets. So in the United States, in California, there's this thing about putting gym equipment in public spaces, like at the beach. Originally there was this idea of like a fitness movement, promoting people fitness, like encouraging people to exercise. And it's also a great spectator pastime because you see these muscular dudes with their shirts off working out, so that's always popular for some people if you're into that sort of thing. And maybe if you have some fit girls as well, that's also popular with some people. So you pretend to be working out, but you're actually just checking out the hot guys and hot girls. so, so that's I don't think it happens in other parts of the world. Like, does it happen anywhere else aside from California? Maybe in South America they do this sort of thing. I know those South American guys and girls might be into that sort of thing. But in other parts of the world, like in China, I'm Chinese. In China, that would be embarrassing for people. Like, people won't, they're not like that. They work out in private. Although they sing and dance in public. I don't know if they work out in public. Anyway, I guess it's a cultural thing. But we are in California right now, so it is culturally appropriate. Now let's come down here. There is a bit of a park here, man. Alright, so further north, there wasn't this much graffiti. As we come south, we see that the gardens were designed quite nice. Like, there's this kind of abstract looking pond there. And there's like terraces and stairs and plants and stuff. So this was designed to be something quite upmarket. And designed maybe to serve a corporate client. But there's a lot of graffiti, a lot of rubbish, and a lot of these guys. They're obviously not corpos. So maybe at some point, the corpos thought they would expand out here. And if you look around at the buildings, that looks like kind of expensive apartments. Not too expensive, but slightly expensive. And if we look this way, oh, I guess it's back there. So there's like nice apartments and then nice public plazas, but there's decay. So I guess it didn't work out. Maybe the economy contracted again, and they didn't really attract that many rich people to come live here. And in fact, if you look around, you can see a lot of evidence that the economy has contracted relatively recently. And so originally plans for more investment and more rich people, those plans didn't work out. And this is one more piece of evidence to support that, right? As we look around, got more apartments. What is that there? It's graffiti. Those kind of look like apartments. Not very attractive though. And they don't look very lived in, right? Like when you live in an apartment, there'll be some differentiation. People would like put stuff in their balconies, and it wouldn't be quite that uniform. Not sure what that is. If it's a hotel, it'll be uniform, right? Because the hotel has their own style, and they clean everything up all the time. What's down here? Look at this. Abstract shapes in the park. It's kind of nice. You can sit on it, right? Oh yeah, it's kind of cool. You can like sit on these steps, have lunch. Except I'm not sure there are actually that many people living here. What is this? Who knows? Yeah, so it looks a lot like they planned to have a nice development here, but it didn't work out. There is a big road coming through here. Oh, this is the tunnel. This is the tunnel that goes under the water over to Pacifica. We'll go over there later. Much later. Alright, let's keep going.
Feeling tired, bored, powerless? Not anymore. Experience.
Just trying to think if there's examples of like you're planning for more rich people but it didn't work out. Can't think of anything off the top of my head.
That on purpose?
Like that looks like kinda nice apartments. Right, so we want to go all the way to the southern tip of Wellsprings before we head back north again. Let me try and brave this road. Let me jump over this. So, at the very southern tip, there's another big pedestrian plaza. It's almost too much, right? There's almost too much pedestrian plaza. And again, maybe they plan for something more at some point. If you imagine, okay, we expect a lot of big... I mean, there's that one. So there's a big mega building there. And if we imagine, okay, we're planning for this district to have a whole bunch of residential towers, and maybe a few 100,000 people are going to live there. And so we're going to plan for enough public space for 100 or 300,000 people. Right, you see what I mean? That you have a population projection in your head, and so you kind of make enough parks and squares and plazas for that many people. And then things don't work out. And then the economy collapses, and then only maybe 20 or 30,000 people move in. As opposed to 200 or 300,000 people. And then all of a sudden you have too much empty space, like too much plazas, too many parks. And that's kind of what this place feels like, to be honest. And again, like I keep going back, I keep asking, like, why are there not more apartment buildings here? It's beachfront property. Like we are at right by. I mean, there's a bit of a beach down there. We have beachfront property close to the city center, and somehow there's not more buildings. There's not more apartments here, right? That's crazy. So, yeah. Maybe that's what this is. I don't know what this stuff is down here either. So there's rooms by the water, which, okay, if you think, oh, they're houses by the water, maybe they're luxury houses by the water. If they're luxury houses though, it's kind of a bad idea to put luxury houses underneath a public square, because there's going to be noise up here. There's going to be security issues. I mean, well, it's dead people. That looks like... What is that, a bar? A cafe? Down here? There's a bar here, right? Maybe it's a bar? I guess a bar can work. But I feel like it's always a bad idea to have people above you. Because, I mean, people get drunk. What happens when they get drunk? They puke over the railings down at the people below. They throw things down there because they're drunk and unruly. So, yeah, it's a bad idea to be below somebody else. So I don't know if that's a good idea, this stuff down here. It could be a bar. It's nighttime. Let me pass the time and change it back in the daytime. No. Oh, smog. Right, I'm trying to avoid the smog, but I guess I'll show you now since we're in the middle of it. There's a whole lot of different climate conditions, different weather conditions available in the game. Sometimes it gets pretty bad. Let me try and not have it smoggy though. Oh, still smoggy. This smog might go on for a long time. Nope. Still, well, I mean... Ooh, that's... Ah, yes, feels like LA, doesn't it? So LA, Los Angeles, is a big sprawling city that relies a lot on cars. And it's also kind of in a valley. And so the air pollution, if it's not windy, the air pollution gets trapped in the valley and it turns into ugly smog. Anyway. So a lot of traffic plus the geographic conditions create smog problems. Anyway. Do we need to go much further than this? Not really. There's more beach and then more of this square. There's no parks, there's no shops or anything. Except a few small stands. And really not enough people for this to make sense, right? Across to the south, there's Pacifica. We will go there much later. But for now, That's what it looks like. Roller coaster, the tunnel comes up, big buildings, and then other stuff. Alright, let's go back. So we want to turn back to the north now. If you remember, Wellsprings is a long, narrow district. It's about 3 streets deep at most. So let's go back into the middle street and go back up. I mean, there's still these either apartments or hotels with ocean views and the big overhanging. I think that's for the views, right? Where are we going? Oh, I guess we want to go check out the mega building. I think we crossed the road? This is a little confusing down here. I think I can figure it out though. So we do want to cross the road, let me use the footbridge. There's a big mega building here. So mega buildings, right? We've seen a few of these. And I think this is the first time. No, I guess there was stuff in the north side industrial district. But the big mega buildings actually being much bigger than the surrounding buildings. Back in the Corpo center, the big corporate headquarters were bigger than the mega buildings. But they're called mega buildings. And you would imagine that when they were first built, they would have been the biggest buildings in the city, right? I kind of imagine the old city to look more like this down here. And then there was some sort of population crisis, and so they built the mega buildings to house a lot of people. By population, I mean like overpopulation. And then after they built these, then the big megacorp towers went up as well. And so now they're still called mega buildings, but they're not that special. They're like there's something particular mega about them. Compared to the Corpo towers, they're around the same size, right? Anyway, like I imagine that's what it is. Because otherwise, why would you call them mega buildings if they're not particularly big? Yeah, so you would call them mega buildings if they were the biggest buildings in the city when they were built. Alright, what's going on down here? There's a whole lot of shopping down here. Is it shopping or is it just... what is this? Vending machines? Not sure what this stuff is about. I think I'm gonna cross this bridge again. Get over there. Oh, over there is the Glen. So that's a different district on the other side there. City center, downtown, Heywood, Wellsprings. Interesting that they point you downtown that way. Right, coming back down again. We don't want to go up there. Just hop across this. So here we get under a big terrace that bridges over the road. What is this anyway? And there's a bunch of small shops down here, interesting. It'll make sense later, soon. So there's a lot of shops down here. Because there's a mega building above, right? The mega building is a large residential mega block. And these shops, because there's people living nearby, so all these shops would be serving the population that lives above. We are gonna go above and check out the mega building. So whenever you have a lot of people living in a place, you want to set up a shop there because you have customers nearby, right? And in fact the shops continue that way, and there's more shops that way as well. Access to the mega building is a little bit convoluted, but there are wide, generous staircases, so you can find it fairly easily. Up these wide stairs. And then we get to that terrace that crossed over the road. And the entrance to Megabuilding 2 is at the upper level. There it is, that's the main entrance. There's the road down there, right? So you see how that works? So up here, on a separate level, we have a pedestrian plaza again. More pedestrian plazas. A bit of a park, nothing remarkable. And then a bunch of small shops. Again, because there's a lot of people living there, we have small shops down below serving the population that lives in the mega building. Let me just walk around this whole place a little bit. Right, cooking food. So out of all the mega buildings we've been to so far, this one seems the most successful. And the way I judge successful is that
Why is there no people?
like the people seem to live okay, and there's enough services nearby to provide for the people. And so all these shops nearby suggest to me that there's enough money here that people can afford to buy things. And there are enough customers here for the shops to be able to stay profitable.
Maybe he's a cat.
So that's how I judge success, right? It's kind of like a social economic balance
Maybe it's an extinct
where
animal.
enough people make enough money to spend on the local shops to keep the local shops running. So it's a healthy economy based on that. We will note that there are cops here with a giant robot too, so that they're providing security, police presence. The rubbish problem is a problem. Not sure what's going on with the rubbish problem, to be honest, in this city. But like, people are hanging out, the shops are doing okay. So the status of the economy is fairly healthy, as far as we can tell. We don't see homeless people, right? And we don't see too many shops that are shut down, although there's some of them. And very, very generous pedestrian public spaces. It's kind of nice, actually, right? This is about as normal as Night City is ever gonna get. It's as close to normal. I mean, there's still piles of rubbish up there. I think they need to fix their rubbish collection problems. There are people doing Tai Chi in the park. There's an elevator that goes back to the street level. Noodles and Tai Chi. And the environment's kind of nice. Plenty of public space. As close as you get to a good city. And here's something quite interesting too. So there's the mega block, right? And then there's like bridges to there. Around the mega block, other residential buildings have risen up. And that's actually quite interesting. The mega block, I assume this is a government project. I'll talk more about that later, but like this looks like a big public housing project to me. It's got that style to it, right? It's kind of ugly. It's kind of ugly, but it's very practical and efficient. So it looks like a big public housing project, but around the public housing project, we have all these little shops spring up. And then around all these little shops, there's other private housing developments springing up. And so it looks like the public housing project has stimulated the local economy enough that more stuff is being built by the private economy. And so a certain synergy has been created between the government spending and private businesses, right? So these look like commercial apartments, right? And because this place is so nice, then property developers would have an incentive to build their buildings, build their apartments nearby to also take advantage of this nice shopping area. You see what I mean?
Game is more stressful than life itself.
So this is, again, this is about as successful as Night City is gonna get, I think. Like this particular part of the city, this synergy created between the public housing project and the private housing here, and the fact that all the residential areas, all the residential apartments have plenty of shops down below, and it's close to a beach, and there's a lot of parks and public space. It's super nice, right? Something nice in Night City for once. Let's get back down. So back down at this level, we can see those look like apartments maybe. I mean, there might be some offices and then some shops. So like a medium-rise, multi-use buildings, the sort of stuff that urban design textbooks tell you is good urban design.
Watch yourself.
Yeah, no, it looks like good urban design to me. I don't know if you've read urban design textbooks, right? Mixed use medium rise urbanism is what people are into. It's a little utopian though. Not every city can afford to do this, right? Like some cities are just too densely populated, you have to go high rise. Anyway, they talk a lot about having things within walking distance. So the idea you can just walk to work and then walk to the shops and then walk back home and not have to drive if you don't want to. Again, a little bit utopian, not always practical, but the ideal is that, you know, everything is just nearby and convenient. I mean, these look like offices, right? Okay, so this is the next part. I don't quite remember where I'm going. Going this way? Yeah, I'm going this way. It's colorful too, compared to the all the black buildings in the city center, right? Oh, look at that. Bright, colorful yellow and blues and green. Very hopeful. Very optimistic. I can't believe people in Night City are allowed to be this happy. Night City is dystopian most of the time. And it continues, right? Look at that. Shops, wide streets. It looks almost like a normal city. What are those? More apartments? Yeah, no, everything's great. So here, what's going on there? The road rises up and becomes double-story as we head back north towards downtown, right? Rulai. That says Rulai restaurant in Chinese, not really a restaurant, it's just a food store. So this is usually bad urban design, having the roads above you. I've said this before. Having a two-story roadway and then putting pedestrians underneath. It's back here. Building. Alright. Usually a bad idea. Because immediately you lose the sun and you lose the sky. And it's just less pleasant, right? And then we get to here, and here comes the Megacorps. So the Megacorps, they have some of their towers pushing into Wellsprings. And here they are. So the scale and the color of old Wellsprings versus the Megacorp intrusion up there. It's a big contrast. I think they're deliberately highlighting this contrast too, like that versus that. It's just this, the difference there. And again, like, why don't the mega corps push further? Right? Maybe there's just not enough demand. What are these though? There are a number of different logos. So maybe these are not actually mega corps, maybe these are just big businesses inside these towers. Bartender ad.
Scum like you are what's destroying this country. You're killing me here. Come on! Can't stand little scop shitters like you.
So there's more public plazas. A hotel, it says. Oh, it says a hotel. I guess this is a hotel. It doesn't look like a hotel. It's a little funny how all the Megacorp buildings, they look all the same. But they're all different things. So the hotel looks, I don't know, it could be a bank. Could be offices, could be anything. Apparently it's a hotel, but the ground level entry is not really there. I mean, there's a door. I don't think they serve us. I don't think they serve pedestrians. I think they serve people who come in from above. Because the buildings are all joined together, aren't they? The sky bridges, I think. There's that thing there. So, you know, I think they're within the corporate ecosystem where all the buildings are joined together with sky bridges. And I mean, there's a door there, but I don't think they serve too many people from the street level. Yeah, I mean, there's big plazas, which is kind of nice, but there's nothing down here. Look at that. Once we get to the Megacorp areas, there's no shops on street level. Compared to... well, I can't see it anymore. Remember how in the other parts of the Wellsprings, it's just shops on the ground level everywhere? And I talked about how there's a healthy economic ecosystem with a lot of small businesses. Immediately, once we get back to the big Corpo towers, all the small businesses are gone. And all the street level shop fronts are pretty much gone. And you can't even see the sky anymore. Rude. Okay, so we can't go up though. It's not too bad yet. If we continue down here, then we really get stuck underneath the buildings and underneath the roads, right? So this is unpleasant. Let me go up. At least they provide a pedestrian space at the same level as the road, as the elevated road, right? So they do provide this. Fourth Wall is a movie company, I think. I guess these guys, they're just wannabe corpos. So like in the Corpo Plaza, the main door is not on ground level, it's one level above. But at least here there's a staircase down to ground level, pretty close by. Kinda surprised the hotel doesn't have a raised... but again, I guess they don't serve people out here. But still, there's the entrance, at least there's a front door, but there's no small businesses, look at that. That's also fourth wall down there, so the whole tower is fourth wall. No small businesses there. We can't cross over? So there's the big road that ruined the street down below. Let's check out on this side what happens. What's going on with the economic conditions over here? Ah, not great, huh? What is going on? Nope, it's just a whole lot of nothing. No shops. What is that? Yeah, there's walkways, but there's no shops, look at that. No small businesses. What is happening? There's this thing. What does that say? Dollop of sunshine. 18 plus. Okay, I guess it's a strip club or something. Yeah, it's not great, is it? It's not great. There's a lot of pedestrian space. What is that? Piece of plastic? As a chair? A lot of pedestrian space. I guess she's selling food there. And I guess there are some shops down below. Yeah, like once we get away from the waterfront and we get closer to the megacorps, all the small businesses get killed, right? And there's a little bit of stuff, but not really. Then we get back across to the other side. Fourth floor, as we said, and then there's another building. They just never end. These big Corpo towers. I don't think we can go much further than this, though. So beyond this point, so the city center is up there. Like that's downtown there. You can see the big black buildings there. So as we get past here, we get into downtown. And like this, the pedestrian space gets squeezed immediately. And then it just ends. And then we have to come back to ground level. So the hostility towards pedestrians that characterizes the city center completely takes over, right? It just disappears. Like the pedestrian walkway just disappears as you get towards the city center. Alright, let's go through here. At least this leads us back to the street at this level. There's a bit of a covered street down here. Are these shops? No, just vending machines. Alright, so that's pretty much the whole of Wellsprings. We went down one side and came back up the other. And then we get to here and this is something else, right? This is over there is the Glen. And then back there is Corpo Plaza. Alright, so what do we have to say about Wellsprings? It is as normal as Night City is ever gonna be. As we get away from the city center, we get into some medium-rise, middle-class areas. A mixture of hotels, apartments, small businesses, shops. And then towards the south we have that mega building, which the mega building itself is the wrong scale for the neighborhood, but it synergizes well with the surrounding areas, right? Around the mega building, other residential developments have appeared, and there's plenty of shops, and the whole neighborhood is quite walkable. So it's quite nice, Wellsprings, and then we come back up and we find that the eastern side of Wellsprings has been taken over by some megacorp towers. And once we get under the megacorp towers, immediately we see all the small businesses disappear. And there's only the big corporations. So yeah, a little slice of normality is what Wellsprings is. Alright, I guess I'm gonna end this one here. Next time we go into the Glen, which is there. Alright, see you next time.